All right, we're back for another episode, Fatherhoods. We got with us today, we got a multi-platinum producer. You've heard his work, man, on countless joints from 50 to Jeezy to who else? Chris Brown, Fab, whole bunch of people. You also the youngest hitman, part of the hitman squad as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Most importantly, for what we're doing here on this pod, he is a proud father and he's also an author of a new book, The Story of Amadeus and the Beat Goes On, children's book. Welcome, Amadeus, to the Fatherhoods podcast.
My brother.
And go for it.
From the BX, son.
Absolutely, man. What an amazing introduction. My brothers, appreciate you guys for having me on this amazing platform. Salute to you, Kings, for actually putting this platform and podcast together. I think it's great to be able to shine light on proud fathers like us, fathers that are doing the right thing, fathers that are, raising kings and young young queens and doing things the right way. Oftentimes you hear about the negativity, that surrounds fathers, especially in, us as Black and minorities, like they can't wait to talk crazy about us. But I love the fact that you put this platform together for us to be seen in a positive light, man. So salute you, brothers, for that, for real.
Thank you, man. I mean, and I give all the credit to Kay, bro, because like the genesis of this podcast really stems from a problem that he was having in trying to find diverse content for his son to be able to absorb, right? Everything was very one-sided that he was coming across. And he shared that frustration with EFN and I, and then that spawned the idea, let's get this podcast going. And Kay's a very reserved kind of dude. So for him to get on a microphone and have a video of him, like,
I don't like that shit. I'm always in the back. I like being in the background.
it was a stretch, but this work that we do was so important that he came out of his shell a little bit, and and we're here. So thank you for the acknowledgement. I mean, we really, for us, selfishly, it's therapy. Like,
absolutely.
We just happen to also help others with the stories that we share and conversations we have. So
awesome. I love it.
But before we dive in, I see the stunt on 100,000 behind you. Okay,
man. I told you, multi-platinum, dude.
Multi-platinum stunting. So listen, if you're listening to the audio right now, you need to pay attention to the IG feed and soon come the YouTube channel so that you can get a sense of what we're talking about. Can you just walk us real quick through just some of the stuff that's behind you, these plaques on plaques on plaques?
Yes, I actually call it my wall art. So this one right here is my first plaque ever. Big shout out to Foxy Brown. Big shout out and rest in peace to DMX. That is on the Cradle to the Grave movie and soundtrack. So I actually produced the title song to that movie and soundtrack, featuring DMX, Jet Li, Gabrielle Union, Anthony Anderson, Dragon, to list a few of the names. And Foxy was working on the project at the time. It's my first placement as a producer. She's working on the project, created this song, ended up being the title song, was featured on the soundtrack and in the movie. Fresh out the gate as a producer, man. So it's crazy to even share that story, because obviously a lot of musicians and artists and producers don't start out that way. But I was definitely blessed to be able to start out that way. But listen, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears before I got there. It was years in the making of making beats and producing and trying to, work towards perfection in my craft. So that's that plaque right here. Over here, can you see? I don't want to move it.
A little bit. It's
That's
okay.
Cameron, Purple Haze album. Produced Take Him to Church on there, which was the legendary beef between him and Mace. you know, that whole thing. So I produced Taking the Church on that one. Down here is Fabulous from Nothing to Something album. That one is The Cradle to the Grave. Over here in the corner is Trey Songz. What is that? Ready album, Gold. Behind me, I don't know if you can see this one, is Justin Bieber, Gold Christmas album, produced a record on that. Down here is Trey Songz, Patrick Plain and Pleasure. In the corner over there, Justin Bieber, Platinum Christmas album, Mike Jones, Little Mo. And so that's this side of the wall. There's a whole nother side.
Nice.
That's Danity Kane, Mike Jones,
Yo,
Chris Brown, Chris
I
Brown.
Amadeus, we get it, bro.
Let me finish.
Yo, but P.S. I still listen to that Chris Brown Christmas album to this day. Yeah,
really?
my kids love it. They all
it's a classic. It's a classic.
Man,
Definitely
you know what? I feel like I used to write for Scratch Magazine back in the day. I feel like I interviewed you for one of the for your Scratch piece. Years ago.
I was in the cover. I think was it Just Blaze on the cover? I feel like it was Just Blaze on the cover, and I was actually featured in that. I was holding the drumsticks in my hand. It's actually the magazine is actually in it. I have the magazine in the crib, but that's crazy, bro.
I feel like that might have been me who interviewed you for that.
Wow. That was
familiar. You sound familiar to me.
First ever magazine feature, and for it to be Scratch Magazine, you know, the magazine that was strictly for producers, was phenomenal. So that'd be crazy if you really did that interview, bro.
Yeah,
wow.
I gotta go look back in my stash and see if that was it.
Yes, sir.
Anyway, let's go back. Let's rewind. Well, rewind, fast forward, whatever we do here. Manny, where do we start? Usually with the what's your family dynamic? Let's rock into that here.
How many kids, how many baby moms? Like how we doing this?
Right. So I have my son is from my previous marriage. He's actually 16 right now. So he's from a previous marriage. My daughter is from my current relationship right now. So he's 16 and she's 9.
Nice. How did they get along?
Very well. Very well. 2 peas in a pod, inseparable. You know, my son lives with his mom. You know, so they're not together all the time. So when they do have the opportunity to get together, it's like, you know what I mean? And it's a pretty really cool dynamic, man. So
your son is 16.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how old you are, nor do we necessarily need to.
I'm 41. Listen, ain't no shame in my game.
Oh, so
41.
You about to be 42 this year?
I'm gonna be 42 next year.
Okay, so you just turned 41. All right, so you're 1981 kind of guy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So
your son was born when a lot of stuff was starting to pop for you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely.
So walk us through that. Like you're in your grind mode, right? Developing your career.
And that's not and sorry to cut you off, but just from my own experience, that is not an easy grind to be running around shopping, especially back then, because you're going and, you know, you got to get in front of A&Rs and you got to be in the studio, you got to be in the offices playing tracks, you know, just all over the place. So I know it's not an easy thing, and there's no kind of money guaranteed all the time.
Big facts. And, you know, the great thing about my previous situation was that, one, you know, my son's mom was an artist, you know what I'm saying? So she was in the music industry as well. Has her own project out, Love Vendor. Prior to that was in an all-girl R&B group, you know, toured with Talib Kweli for 10 years. So it was kind of a really cool dynamic. You know, shout out to Tiffany Mignon is actually her name. And shout out, it was a really cool dynamic because she understood, because she was a part of the game. She was a part of the music industry. So there wasn't any stress, wasn't any drama, you know, the late studio nights and all that stuff. It was a huge support system that I had. So when he was born, of course, it was a huge excitement. We both was in the game. She did have a 9-to-5. So she kind of had 9-to-5 plus being in the music industry. So she was really the stability, you know, at the end of the day. So that, you know, kind of forced me to really step up my game and make sure that I did my best to make ends meet. As an entrepreneur, as a producer, you know, you get what you sell, you know what I'm saying? So it's not like I'm getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, you know, it's like you have to hustle in order to bring it in. And for me, it was motivation. You know, I didn't really feel it as pressure. It was more of motivation. And as you look at your child, you know, that person, that young person, 100% counts on you. You know what I'm saying? Full trust, full everything. You know what I mean? So when you look at a baby in his or her eyes, there's no worry in the world. There's no care in the world because they don't know how to be concerned. They don't know how to worry. They don't know how to, you know, not know whether I'm going to get milk today, you know what I'm saying, or formula. So it was a beautiful thing just being able to hustle and build my name and my brand and be able to, you know, co-parent and be the father that I've always dreamt of being.
So you said you always dreamt of being a father.
Where
did that stem from? Like, what's your family, you know, you growing up? How was that situation?
Right. So growing up was I had a great family household. My parents were married, church going folk, you know what I'm saying? Really supportive when it came to music for me. I went to Catholic school my whole, you know, education.
Wait, what school?
Journey.
What school?
First school was St. Augustine School of the Arts in the Bronx, where I, you know, picked up the drumsticks for the first time in 4th grade. After that was Christ the King on the Grand Concourse.
CTK.
Yes, sir. CTK. High school was Cardinal Hayes, you know, in the Bronx. So that was, you know, my whole journey, and it was pretty cool, man. They end up divorcing, I think, my senior year. So that was definitely different. You know, my dad moving to a separate location from my mom and my siblings. So that was different. You know, so I've had my own experiences, man. And as time went on, you know, my dad, we had our moments. You know, there were moments where we didn't see eye to eye. There was moments where we kind of separated. He went his way, I kind of went my way. And after having my son, you kind of want to break the trend of what you've experienced. You know what I'm saying? My dad was very tough, very strong. My grandfather was nuts, like, you know, soldier in the army, you know, so it was kind of different upbringing. So to me, I wanted to be in certain ways, you know, not taking any shots at my dad because he's an amazing man, but I kind of wanted to be different with my son. You know what I mean? I'm very expressive to my son. Like, I'm very affectionate to my son. I hug and kiss my son. My son is taller than me right now, and I'm hugging him and kissing him and being all over him and telling him I love him. I didn't really have that growing up because that wasn't how my father was raised. And being that he was raised that way, he raised us that way, because you can only be what you've been taught. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're willing to say, you know what? This don't feel right. This is not the right way. I know you taught me to go this way, but, you know, I'm going to be independent and I'm going to go that way. So that's kind of what.
Yeah, you got to recognize what you want and how you want to be.
Yeah. So for me, being a dad was exciting because I was excited to have this young being and then for it to be a son and for him to be a junior. And shout out to his mom for allowing that to happen, because she could have chose many different names. She didn't fight me on that. She was just like, yeah, it could be a junior. So it's just a blessing, man. It's just a blessing. And like I said, I feel the most important and the best job I can ever have. You know what I mean?
Big facts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm hogging the mic here.
No, go for it, man.
I have another question for you, Amadeus. So I appreciate you sharing kind of your upbringing story a little bit, and there's some synergies there that I also have experienced, right? So like the whole affection piece wasn't really something that was very strong in my household. I'd say on both sides. Like my mom would be more so than my dad, but there wasn't a lot, right? And I've always struggled with that. I didn't realize that I needed it. But now as a father, it's something that I overdo, right? Like I try to, with my oldest daughter. So I have a 15-year-old daughter, an 8-year-old son, and a 5-year-old daughter.
Awesome.
And my 15-year-old, her love language is not huggy, huggy, kissy, kissy.
Really?
Hers is more like, yo, let's like show me affection, but don't do it so like in my face. Like
really,
you spending time with me in the same room is what I want. Like that, that to her is like the affection. So being able to take the time to really understand each one of their needs from that perspective has taken me a long time. It's something that I feel like I've got the grasp of, and it really aids me in being able to be there for them in the way that they accept. Right.
I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. And I've talked about it here before, but the book that I read that put me onto it was called The 5 Love Languages. And I failed to remember the author's name. But I highly recommend the book. It's never too late or too early. Like
Gotcha.
you can benefit from that real, as soon as you grasp what they're talking about.
When did in terms of your kids, when did you read that book?
I want to say it was a while ago. I think my eldest was maybe 7.
Oh, okay.
So my son was just born.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would you say is it just for kids, or would you say just us as individuals?
People.
Period.
People.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there is a kids version of the book also.
Really?
But it is 100% like with your mate. Like I learned a lot about it with my wife and like how to approach her, and we were having an honest dialogue about it. Like, cause you fuck around and you live life with your partner, and you might be missing the mark the entire time. Cause
big facts.
You buy them gifts, and they don't give a shit about that.
Right.
But that to you is like, oh, that's the wave, because everybody else, like Valentine's Day, we don't celebrate that shit here.
Yeah, it's crazy you brought that up, because she doesn't. And I do. I look at it like another day to just be extra. Obviously, we love on one another every day, but it's like, okay, this is a day to be extra, with it. And I would be big on the gifts, but I kind of approached it in a different way this year, where she loves plants, right? So instead of, and I went into the store, I ain't gonna hold you, to get flowers, right? And I'm like, flowers are cool, but this is a really nice, really exotic plant. And I'm like, I think she would appreciate that more than that. So I ended up getting her that. I got my daughter some like big squishy little thing that she can, hug. And I planned out a nice little dinner that I came home and prepared. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of looked a little different, from the way it usually does. And she actually appreciated it more. It was like, yo, I'm not, she knows. She's like, I don't celebrate. But she really liked it because she felt like it was more about the thought and the actions that were being done versus here, or let's go here. Like, you know what I mean? So I can now question for you, which just so I can hear you guys' thought process of why you don't celebrate. And there's no judgment. I don't disagree or agree. I'm just curious of where you guys are with that.
And so let me correct that. So we celebrated for the kids.
Okay.
Just for them. But between my wife and I, we don't do it. And the reason is we feel like we do such a good, and this was her telling me, and I'll explain why I didn't agree at first. She was like, yo, I feel so much love throughout the year that this Hallmark holiday really doesn't mean anything. And I was like,
that's dope.
I was like, I'm the man like that? I didn't even know. And I'm kind of joking, right? But like she explained it to me, and I'm like, but I don't like, I feel like honestly, like it's so little effort for me to be the ideal husband in her eyes, that I'm like, nah, I'm fucking up somewhere. Like there's something that I'm not doing that she would like me to do. And I'm looking back and I'm thinking, and I'm like, yo, but what about this? She's like, I don't give a fuck about that. And I'm like, wow, but what about that? Like, I rarely do any cleaning in my house. Right. Okay. Like I'll pick up my shit, I'll tidy up, but I'm not like, I'm gonna go, all right, today I'm gonna clean the bathroom. And I do very little of that. It's just like, I have no issue doing any of that stuff. You don't have to do that. Like you go handle, like if the fucking furnace breaks, like you jump into action and you figure that shit out. And right. Fuck, okay, then I guess it's fucking perfect. Like, I don't know what else to do.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm super blessed,
that's a great
bro.
Queen, bro. Because listen, my queen be up my ass, boy. The garbage is full. This is, you see that piece of, come on, man. So,
it puts things into perspective though, because you nitpick on the little shit a lot. That's just people in general, right? Like if you are a particular type of person, putting a cup on the wrong side of a table might flip you the fuck out, or not using a coaster might make you lose your shit, right?
Right.
And then that carries into your kids as well. It's like, oh, you didn't pick up after yourself. Like you want to blow up, but if you synthesize what's happening, like the magnitude of that moment is really not that serious.
Absolutely.
And I've learned that through my wife. Like she doesn't really get fazed by much. For her, it's like, all right, a glass broke, whatever. Like it's not the end of the world. But me before, yo, what the how that shit break? Like Yo, bro, it's a glass. Like,
It's
what
a
the fuck are we
glass,
talking
bro.
about?
That's epic, man. That's epic.
Yeah, man, it's pretty dope. Okay, go, man. I don't hog this mic no more.
No, you know how it's just it's conversation. I mean, I guess going back to this whole conversation, I think for both our kids and our partners, it's probably like I feel like as and talking about affection and on that side of thing, I feel like oftentimes as men, and this is what I've generally and encountered with my friends, I think it's just sometimes reminding ourselves that it's not about the gifts and all. It's just about like reminding ourselves to share more with
Yes, sir.
those, like share what we're feeling, our emotions. It's easy to kind of push the emotions aside or not necessarily think that those around us kind of are interested in hearing like what we're thinking or what we're up to, and we think it's like it's whatever.
Right.
But I think if like I'm trying to remind myself of that because it's easy to get into a zone of just like
Yeah.
I can be stoic and just keep it moving.
Right.
But then but by being more open, those around me actually benefit. You know what I'm saying? And then
I agree.
I benefit from that. So I think that's just one of those things. Just going back to this whole conversation of how we interact with our kids and how we interact with our wives or folks that we live with.
Right. I agree 100%.
Sharing is actually super critical, and I'll take it a step further, and I'll say, like, in my own life, I try my best to not almost flip the scale and talk more about my mistakes than I would my wins. Right. And the reason why there's two. Both are important because you wander around, at least I do. I wander around my house not communicating all that much about how my day was or like things that are impacting me.
Yeah, I'm guilty of it too.
And I think it's important for our kids and even our spouses or partners to know what it is that we're going through, because there's an assumption in my house in particular, there's an assumption that he's the man of the house.
Right.
Everything is cool. He's got it under control. And the reality is that's not always the case.
That is true.
And it teaches my kids in particular, it teaches them a very valuable lesson that, your father is 41 years old and is still making mistakes every day. And but the trick is, how do I handle those mistakes and what do I derive from those mistakes? Because for them at this juncture, it's about, I made a mistake, I'm a failure. That's how they look at it.
Right.
And by me sharing what happened, why I did what I did, and what resulted from it, tends to show them, he fucked up, but it wasn't really a fuck up. It was like he elevated as a result of that, and he learned.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
So I try it's hard because there's a vulnerability there in a human being that we don't want to show. We don't want to show when we fuck up.
Yeah, especially as men.
Exactly. On top of that, right? The machismo shit gets kicked in and fucks everything up. But but it is something that I'm pushing myself more and more to do, because I see how it helps them be easier on themselves and not sweat things in a way where they think they're disappointing their parents or like a shell of themselves or all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because kids are really big on, when they feel they disappointed us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it just goes to show you, and that's why I always keep saying about, being a dad and how monumental and epic and how much I love it, because they want to impress you with everything they do. You know what I'm saying? They look to you as superheroes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? With all your flaws, with all your shortcomings, with all your failures, regardless, the world would have thrown us away, right? Our colleagues would have thrown us away, family, friends, or so-called family and friends would throw us away, but our kids are still there with open arms, as if they see no flaws and just looking at us as all muscle. You know what I mean? And not just, the natural look, but just inside, outside, physical, mental, spiritual. They look at us as the superheroes. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, I think And it was one, and I'll share this of when it was one of the most difficult times for me, was kind of sharing with my son, that his mother and I will no longer be together.
How old was he there?
I'm probably gonna say the wrong age.
Roughly.
He's 16 now, maybe 9, 10.
Okay, yeah, that's tough.
8, somewhere around there. My numbers could be off a little. And I remember trying to hide, tears and hide vulnerability and how I felt and just the down part of me for years. You know what I'm saying? For a long time, and then I just woke up one day and he was there, and I just kind of came to him just with the downpour and was just like, yo, this is what it is. This is what's going on. I don't know where life's headed. I don't know where you're going to be, where I'm going to be, but I know, deep down inside, some way, somehow, God is going to allow everything to be okay. You know what I'm saying? And I remember saying that, and I cried and he cried, and it was one of those moments. And since then, instead of trying to pretend to really be that superhero that they see us as, I just made sure to show them all of the vulnerable moments and let them hear the tough moments, especially in the business. You know what I'm saying? Nah, that deal just fell through. Here's what happened. I want you to know, like that check ain't gonna come. That check ain't gonna make it for Christmas. So I don't know what Christmas is gonna look like this year. Like, right. And I think it's very important for our kids to hear that. Like, everything ain't gonna be, gold. You know what I'm saying? Everything ain't gonna be,
it's not gonna look like your wall all the time, right?
It's not, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. And I think after doing that, it felt so much better for me, because imagine walking around and moving around and not being your authentic self. You're pretending to be the strongest man in the world, but deep down inside, you're shattered, you're broken, you're bruised, you're battered, you know what I'm saying? You down. And it's like, nah, I need to show him when I'm down so that when he's down, he'll know and remember this moment of like, yo, I remember when my dad was down a bunch of times, and every single time he was down, because of the grace of God and because of his belief and his faith and his strength inside, outside, he was able to bounce back. You know what I'm saying? So I think, and I love that you guys brought that up, I think that's very important for us to be able to really show how we feel and express ourselves to our children, whether good or not so good. You know what I mean?
When you
Kay,
were,
I have a question for you, Kay.
Yeah.
Have you gotten to a place as a dad, forget dad, as a man, where you're able to cry in front of your family?
Yeah. Yes and no.
Damn, I'm not there yet.
Yeah,
I haven't broken down too crazy, but yeah, there was actually one time, not too long ago. And I don't know why my son brought it up. This is probably maybe the first time he may have seen it. And this is not too long ago. And he started talking about, like, what if I passed, like, would I still be with him if I passed away? And, that like, I don't know how it came up.
Wow. Yeah, it's deep.
And so he started talking about that, and he was getting kind of sad, just like, you'll always be with me, even if you're not here, that kind of thing.
Wow.
And then he started tearing up, and then that brought me to tears. And he's like, oh my God, you're crying. And then my wife walks in and she's like, what's wrong with you two? What just happened? Like, what happened? Because we were laughing and joking before then. So it'd be those kind of like unexpected things.
So man, you saying you've never cried in front of your, like, ever at all?
Yo, like if I cry, I'm a hider. Like, right. I'm so like, here's the funny thing, right? So like, obviously, like, catastrophic life events trigger that.
Yeah.
But there's moments where everything is perfectly cool, and just I could be watching a sports story on ESPN, and I'm just like not Not, but like the tears, right? The waterworks is going, and then my kids will be in the room, and I sneakily walk away before they notice, and then I let it out, like in the bathroom upstairs. And you know how you try to fight it, like that's me. I'm on that quiet tip, and it hasn't been a long time since I actually looked at that and said, why am I doing this shit? Like,
right.
What am I afraid of to be able, and it's the obvious. It feels like a sign of weakness to my family where I believe they look at me as like the rock.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous of you, Amadeus, because like it sounds like you're pretty free about it.
I'm the biggest crybaby ever, bro. and no shame, no shame about it, no feeling, no feeling of weakness. Let me tell you something. A good cry is one of the best experiences you'll ever have. To everybody viewing and listening, especially the kings of the world. A good cry is one of the best things ever. I mean, at the end of the day, it's think about holding on to different things inside. You know what I'm saying? Put it like this. I'll use this example, and I just thought about it. I've never used it before. Think about us in a gym, bench pressing. So you telling me once you get those 2 plates up that's on each side, you're just gonna sit there and just do that? Eventually, that joint got to come back down. Either you're gonna come back down, or you're gonna rest, you're gonna stop, or you're gonna come back down and get another one up. You know what I'm saying? But you can't just you showing me how strong you are by just going.
Yeah, and just holding it.
Okay, that's impressive, but bring it down, and then let me get that again.
Right.
Push that back up. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was a pretty, like, as I felt it in my mind, I'm like, that's kind of dope. Let me just share that, with the fellas. It's like, nah, bro, you need a moment to release. You need a moment to let go of whatever is weighing you down, whatever is burdening you, whatever worries you have, whatever concerns, like loss of life, of loved ones or family or friends. Like, you need to let that go, man. And you'll be surprised of the response you'll get. And I'll share this, and I've never shared this amongst family. I've never shared this on a platform. I remember watching The Pursuit of Happiness by myself. By myself. I was married at the time. I think she was at work or out of town or whatever, and I was by myself watching it. And I was a mess. A mess watching that movie. And I think during that moment, I think I was challenged financially. Me being a producer in the music business, I was challenged financially, waiting on a few checks. Bill collectors was calling, and I think I was just kind of down mentally. You know what I'm saying, and spiritually. And I remember boo-hooing, and my son came in the room, caught me crying. He was a youngin'. Caught me crying. He was like young, 5, 6. Saw me crying, and I couldn't even like get it together. I was finished. My son walked over, took my head, put it on his chest.
Oh, man.
And said, "It's gonna be okay, Daddy. It's gonna be okay. Ain't no nothing from nothing. It's gonna be okay, Daddy."
What a good kid, man.
And then all the boogers started coming out.
Bruh.
Overdrive.
Bruh.
I would be, woof.
Bruh, finished.
Yeah,
I was fit, and you see, I still remember that still to this day, and shared that to him, right? And I say this to him too. The whole separating thing and the divorce thing and different households now and boom, boom, and it's a lot. And I remember saying to him a few years ago, I was like, I know you look at me as your hero and super dad and this and that. Even your mom, like his mom is amazing. She's phenomenal. Just because you're not along with someone any longer doesn't mean that they're not great or incredible. Like, she's incredible. Wouldn't change her for a world to be, co-parenting with. You know what I'm saying? Do we get along all the time? Hell no. But it's like, but you can't take away from her being an amazing individual and an amazing queen, right? And I told him, I said, bro, you inspired me. You inspired me. You encouraged me. You. When I'm down, I look at you still pushing, still going. You know what I'm saying? We envisioned growing old together. We envisioned you being raised in that house, and you're no longer there. You're somewhere else, but you're still fighting, and you're still continuing on, and you're still being a good kid, loving, respectful, that's the one thing people always say, yo, your son, man, he's so cool and down to earth and loving and respectful. And it's like, that's all that's all you can ever want from your kids is for you to raise them, to give them the morals and the values that they need, the religion they need, or whatever you believe in, and then they grow up to just be amazing individuals, and that he is. So I tell him all the time, like, bro, you inspire me. You inspire me, you push me, you make me feel strong as I watch you be strong through all of what you have endured as a kid, going through what you didn't sign up for. You feel me? So listen, hey Manny, I'm gonna tell you, bro, and you'd be surprised, bro, the support you get from your kids and from your spouse when you just let them joints roll. And I'm not telling you to force it, of course. I mean, if there's no reason for you to cry, don't cry. But if there's moments where you got to let it go, bro, let it go, because there's no better feeling than being consoled by your loved ones, bro. It's the best feeling ever to just know that they got you and they got your back, and whatever it is you're going through, that they're there with you, whether it's finances, whether it's spirituality, whether it's a mental breakdown, whatever it is, just know that your spouse and your kids is there for you 100%. One of the best feelings in the world, bro.
I'm gonna say this now, and I don't know if I'm gonna capture this on any video or anything, so it probably won't be shared. But I'm gonna get through this emotional constipation.
But that's a powerful statement. That's a big, and I honor you and applaud you for recognizing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then going a step further and sharing with the world, man, because you just never know by you saying that how you'll allow the other kings that are tuned in that may feel how you feel, be like, damn, man, he just hit a nerve just there. You know what I'm saying? That might have struck something, and it might encourage someone else to just be free. That's what I call it. Be free, bro.
Yeah.
Be
being
free.
free is good.
Be free. Just be free.
I'm probably more along the lines of you, man, if just wanting to try to hide it, you know what I mean? But
you hurt yourself. You hurt yourself.
But on the flip side, it's like I encourage my son to be free, right?
But
you're not showing it yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you. I feel like it's a big step for you guys to admit that.
Yeah.
It starts with that. It starts with recognition of, to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, yo, okay, and then acknowledge it, and then being willing to slowly but surely in your own time, like, be free, however that looks to you, however that feels to you. And we're all three different individuals, so my free is different. It's going to be different from you kings, you know what I'm saying? But however that is for you, just be that, man. Like, and it's never too late. It ain't never too late.
I'll give my son, like, then I'll introduce levels of like the free of the freedom. And I don't know if this is good or bad. It's like, I encourage, like, because so in our house, we know something's really bothering, and we kind of get to it. We're just like, yo, just let it out, just So he'll come and be like, I just got to let it out, and so he'll let it out, and we encourage that. But then on the flip side, it's like, if he does something wrong, or if, like, we have to threaten with a consequence or something like that, and it's for whatever, it's like, you can't play Roblox right now, or he's feeling sensitive about it, and the tears start welling up, then I'm typically on the shutdown of like, don't start crying about that. So it's like, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's good or bad.
I'm the same way.
Like, I want you to cry. I want you to be able to express yourself, but not over something like that. But maybe that's wrong. I don't know.
I mean, you got to think, for them, like, for us, we're grown, we're adults,
right.
We see the bigger picture. We got real life shit that's happening. But for them, for us, bills, making sure our responsibilities are taken care of, the needs are met of our spouses and our kids, that's our responsibilities, right? But their responsibility is making sure that they spend the Robux right on Roblox. Like,
right, I forget that. So it's like, world. For them, that's the big cap of the day of like, bro. Yo, boom. Right.
They don't care if they eat dinner. They don't care if lunch is on time. Right. They don't care. Like, bro, I'm on Roblox right now, and that's life.
Yeah.
So that's why they feel the way, as us as fathers, you're like, you gonna cry about that? Absolutely. Right. Because
they're so in the moment. They're in the moment of this is the best thing right now. So.
Don't you miss those things?
Yeah.
Don't you miss those things?
Let me add on the topic of gaming. Would you guys say, and we're all similar age-wise, would you guys say, if you're being an objective arbiter here, would you say their screen time is more popping than our screen time. So I'll give you Roblox versus like Mario Kart.
Oh, I mean, it's a great question.
I don't know. I'd actually say that my screen time was way more, but so it's like I'm growing up primarily in a single parent household, and if my mom is out working, and she would work nights and days, so often I would just have the TV on 24/7, even if I'm not watching it, but I have it on just so it feels like there's someone else in the house, or there's something, there's another person in the. So I guess I didn't really think of it as like screen time, like, oh,
Right.
I'm glued to it, because I was doing other things. I'm listening to
Yeah.
music, I'm doing homework, I'm doing whatever, but like
That's true.
the
Yeah,
screen is
that's
on
true.
in the background the whole time.
That's a good point, because we had so much to do activity wise that didn't have nothing to do with the screen. I can agree with Kay 100%, and I didn't even think of it like that until he said it. And I'm like, oh shoot, like he's like we wanted to go outside.
Yeah.
Like I cried because I wanted to go outside, and my mom was like, nah, because I live in the hood, so she's like, nope, you're not going outside, you're not gonna be with the boys, you're not gonna be with that crowd. And I'm like, Ma, I just want to play basketball, I just want to play football, So I would sit at the window and look at everybody else outside. You know what I'm saying? And I would sit there for hours and look at everybody else outside. So I love that you brought that up, Kay. That's a crazy dumb question. Oh, Manny, that's a pretty good question, bro.
Yeah, we'll put it out on the socials and get a little feedback from folks.
Word.
So just on the wind down.
Yeah, before we get it, you got it, because we need to talk about this book.
Yes. So tell us the genesis of this of your book. First, let's start again. What's the title? And then tell us how this thing came to be, and then where can people cop it?
Copy. So the title is The Story of Amadeus, and the beat goes on. And as you can see, that's actually me on the cover. I have my dad's headphones on, and I'm touching the stereo system, which is what I did faithfully at that age. And just the whole vision of the book, I wanted to share my story straight to the point. And the mission is to inspire, the youngins to just chase and go after their dreams, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of where you're from, the challenges that you may face, the doubt, whether it's yourself, whether it's your family, your loved ones, and because people really sometimes use the excuse of where they're from and not having the means and not having the support system that's needed in order to be successful and to be great. And I'm just like, listen, man, I didn't have as much as what the world has today. None of us did. We all grew up at the same time. Like, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have social media. We didn't have all these outlets. We didn't have, our games did not look like the games that are here in 2022. So it's like, I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear no complaining. I don't want to hear you can't. I don't want to hear no excuses. It's like, if I was able to take literally nothing and create something from scratch in the palm of my hands, you guys can do the same thing, both male and female. So that's the idea of the book. And I wanted to really be personal about it. Like I said, that's me on the cover. As you turn to the first page, like that's actually me again, getting caught on the stereo system with the records and the vinyl. That's the MJ action happening. You know what I mean? At the crib growing up, there was always house parties and birthday parties, and you would perform, whatever. That's my first drum set. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted people to just see how I really became Amadeus. And, you often hear stories about, y'all been doing this since I was a little kid, and people, run with that, but then don't have the backing. So I remember invading my mom's photo albums at her crib, and she would be like, what are you doing? Like, what are you looking for? And I'm not going to lie. Originally, I was just getting photos for me to post on Throwback Thursdays on Instagram. So I had all these photos that were just cool, and I'm putting them up here and there. And then, unfortunately, the pandemic hit, and we were home, and we didn't have a choice whether we wanted to be home or not. We were home, and it was like the perfect time to finally get this done. It was something I've always wanted to do, but just time and scheduling and touring and performing and studio, and just not enough time to get it done. So when the pandemic hit, we really felt like it was the perfect time to get it done. And it was very difficult because there was a lot going on during the pandemic. People lost their lives, people getting sick, people not able to work, do what they love to do. And that was some of the things that I was experiencing. I lost my pastor, during that time. So rest in peace to my pastor, Pastor Bishop Michelle White, who also created an opportunity and helped really groom me as a musician and as a producer and as a man and as a father. So I'm like, how do I take this pain and challenge and turn it into something beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And that's this, you know, and it's not just for kids, it's for adults. A lot of adults have been really enjoying it too. I didn't water it down. It's not ABC 1, 2, 3. It's really words that I feel I wanted to challenge kids and students with, that if they didn't understand the word, go look it up and do your research and do your homework. So it's a really good book. Very excited about it. Humbled. Shout out to my co-authors, Lynn Hobson, Trina Stackhouse. Couldn't have done this without them two amazing queens. And it's out now. I dropped it in December. It's doing very well independently, self-published. No Amazon, nothing. I'm out the trunk like Cash Money. You know what I'm saying? No Amazon. And eventually I might, you know, go into those different areas, but I want people to come get it from me. I want to make sure that I'm signing every book that's going on. I'm actually mailing everybody's book out. I'm actually going to the post office and, you know, sending it off. I wanted to be a part of and enjoy that entire process of being an entrepreneur in regards to being an author. And it's amazing. It's a lot of work, but I'm appreciative of all of the love and support that I've been getting. I've been connecting with principals and getting the book in schools. So they've been ordering 200 and 100 and 300 at one time. And God is just amazing, man. And I'm just grateful to share my story with the world.
So wait, how do they reach you to cop one?
Absolutely. Sorry. And I appreciate you asking that, Manny. www.iamkingamadeus.com is the website. Once again, it's www.iamkingamadeus.com is the website. You can DM me on Instagram, on Twitter. My Instagram is Amadeus PBM. Once again, it's Amadeus PBM, excuse me. You can DM me. However, some people is cool with the website. A lot of people that know me directly would just DM me. I send them the details. I accept Venmo, PayPal, Cash App, Zelle, all that good stuff, and order it. I'm signing all the books, all of them. Every book that being purchased, I'm still signing it. So get it while my hand is still moving. You know what I mean? I play drums, so I got to be easy with all the signing. So get it ASAP, get it now. I'm sure you'll love it. Read it with your kids, read it with your family, and just be inspired. Be inspired to chase your dreams, no matter the age, and not give up. And it's not just for kids, it's for everybody, because sometimes we feel that as adults, that once we reach a certain age that our dreams no longer matter, or it doesn't count, or it's about our kids. And it is about our kids and our family, but it's also still about you as well. So it's never too late. Don't give up on yourself. If God has blessed you with, you know, life and breath in your body to wake up, that's another opportunity to go after those dreams that are deep down inside.
Amen.
Yeah. Straight up.
I'm copping one, so I will hit you up. I know my kids will love it.
Yes,
we're
sir.
actually
Thank you,
so interesting. I mean, similar, I'm sure. I haven't read the book, obviously, but there's a movie on YouTube right now. It's called Muggsy. It's a documentary about Muggsy Bogues, the NBA player.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Yeah, it's free on YouTube right now. It's up there. And I saw the first 15 minutes of it early this morning, and I decided we're gonna watch this as a family tonight, because the rise of the shortest dude, he was 5'3" at his peak in the NBA, right?
Wow.
All he heard his whole life was, you can't, you're not.
You can't. Right?
And so to be able to overcome all that, coming up in the streets of Baltimore, which are no picnic,
right?
And you know, being able to find his way and really make something of himself and for his family, like, it's such a dope story. And I only saw the first 15 minutes of it this morning, so it inspired me to like set up. We don't do family movie time all that much, but I was like, yo, clear your schedules, get all your chores done. 7:30 is on.
That's fire. And I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to do that more, King.
Yeah,
do that more. It's something that I do that we do in a household, and you can do it in different ways, right? Where it can be a family night when it's everybody, you know, or there can be certain shows that you will want to watch with your oldest daughter, or shows with your son. You'll create those moments, because those are some of the moments that, same thing with you, Kay. Some of those moments is moments they'll never forget. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then it could be a conversation piece, or, you know, especially with your daughter being 15, my son is 16, they're in the same age, you know, where you're going to start thinking about girls and boys and dating and girlfriends and boyfriends. It's like, nah, we can't hide from it. We can't run from it. It is what it is. So I'd rather sit you down, tell you the God honest truth, so that you ain't going and listening to it from your friends and get the wrong information and end up with some crazy shit that you don't belong in, because I was too scared as a parent to really sit you down and have that real conversation. So I would challenge you to take that same approach, and just sometimes just you and the wife. You know, same thing with you, Kay. Sometimes you and the missus. Sometimes it's you and, you know, your eldest daughter. Sometimes it's you and your son. Sometimes it's everybody. So you feel the vibe of what it should be. But I definitely encourage doing more of that, man. It'll really be a blessing.
Damn,
for you guys.
Amadeus got so much homework for me today, bro. You want
Yeah,
me to
man.
cry?
Come on,
And
man.
you want me to nah. But yo, it's real. It's real. That's really
Yes, sir.
impactful stuff you talking about. And
Yeah.
I mean, we do it, the individual stuff, we do a bunch of it actually,
Beautiful.
but not enough with my eldest daughter.
Yeah,
When you
bro.
said it, I'm
you
like,
gotta,
and I just
gotta
finished
tap
saying,
in.
like, being in the same room is like her thing, and we don't
Yeah.
do it in that regard.
Yeah. And I'd say, because she's getting older, getting more independent. You know what I mean? She's gonna start looking at herself a certain, and you just want to make sure that you're there and you show her that you're there, and you give her space, of course.
Yeah.
But it's like, I need to really show you. You're seeing it every day. You're seeing it amongst me and your mom, but I want you to feel and see what real love is, so that once you start experiencing it, you'll have to say, yo, nah, if we're gonna be together, you're gonna have to love me like how my dad loves me. You're gonna have to give me the time like how my dad gives me time and energy, and you know what I'm saying, and gifts and all that. You gotta meet up to my dad's standard, and that's the standards we gotta set as fathers, even for males. But it's like, your girl gotta look like this. You know what I'm saying? You gotta treat you like this. It ain't about you spending all up everything you got. Nah, man. Do double dates. Sometimes you pay, sometimes she pay. We gotta put them on game, bro. We in a different world today.
Yep. Thanks.
So absolutely.
So we're gonna need a couple more appearances from you on the show, my friend.
Hey, bro.
Right.
Absolutely. Because there's so much we can get into, man. So we can do a part 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yep.
Whatever.
Definitely.
I love this conversation because, like you said, it's healing, man. It's therapy, and it's amazing of us kings and fathers could have this amazing conversation and just shoot out ideas and different things and share experiences, because it all helps us. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things you said today is a blessing to me and help me and have me look through different things and see it through different lenses. Sometimes you just need to see it from different lenses, hear it from someone else's mouth. Somebody may have been saying the same thing the whole time, but you couldn't receive it from that person. No disrespect, no negativity, but you might have heard it differently from me today. I definitely heard things differently from you two kings today. So this conversation is really dope. And like I said, I'm really, really proud of you guys for putting this together. I think it's really great. And it shows us in different light. And we need more of, because everybody love the records, they love the songs, they love the beats and all of this and all of that. But it's like, oh man, Amadeus as a father, Manny and Kaz fathers, EFN as father, like that's really dope. And we need more of that. So salute to you, kings.
Appreciate you, brother.
Thank
Yo,
you,
we'll
man.
be in touch for sure, and good luck the rest of the way, man. Hope that book goes.
Thank you, man.
I hope you have a platinum plaque for the book back there. at some point.
Word. We need the
sure.
bestsellers list.
Yep.
The New York Times bestseller list. And, in due time, I know I'm going to get there, man. The support has been really dope. Definitely make sure that we connect on Instagram, and I'll see the details so I can get, you guys, the book for your families, man. And thank you for the love and support, and thank you for the conversation.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you, man.
Take care.
Much love, y'all.
All right.